And we're back on a Thursday night, everybody. This is the second part of our doubleheader tonight on a Thursday, late night news wrap up. We're not going to keep you long tonight, but we do have some things I wanted to share with you. We got some video and some commentary. What a horrible 24 hours in the country. And let me get my cowboy hat on to make it look like I know what I'm doing. Not that I do know what I'm doing, but it's good to see everybody back, and I'm sure a bigger crowd will be coming in here later. Tonight. We'll be taking your questions at the end. Please hold your comments. And folks, even if you're posting comments, look, just no paragraphs. That's the only thing that bothers me a lot. When you put a paragraph in, it creates a distraction, and it's just best just one sentence. And if you got a question, we'll take your questions and keep your thoughts on the subject. And we thank you for being with us tonight. Good to see all our Facebook folks, our X, Rumble folks back with us, and your YouTube news channelers. And we're grateful to have you. I don't think James Akers is going to be with us tonight. He'll be back another time, maybe first of the week. Our schedule coming up this weekend is going to be a little sketchy. We got Memorial Day coming up Monday. And as of right now, we'll have a Sunday face show. And then we'll see what happens Monday, depending on what we're doing as a family. And but we should be on here Monday night. It'll be maybe a late news wrap up for Memorial Day. We hope to have a special Memorial Day presentation. We always do every year to honor our fallen soldiers, and we'll definitely do that Sunday during the faith show on Sunday morning. But tonight we want to come to you. I saw a tweet today, and it was somebody that had chimed in on this horrific shooting last night in Washington, D.C. Of this Jewish couple. Couldn't have been no older. I think one of them was 28. One of them was maybe a year younger. Yaron Zavolinsky and Sarah Milgram are their names. And they were shot in cold blood outside the Jewish Museum. And it was absolutely horrendous. It was a targeted shooting. It was definitely anti-Semitic related. It was definitely a hate crime in my book. Judge Janine Pereiro, she's now the U.S. attorney, acting U.S. attorney in Washington, D.C. She said tonight that it would probably merit a possible death penalty if convicted, as it should. But there are a lot of other circulating stories around this that we want to talk about tonight, and the raging anti-Semitism that is going on in our nation, and it's not good. And it is not just America, it's all over this world. There is so many lies that are being told relating to the Gaza conflict. Israel is being blamed for so much stuff that it's not guilty of. It's always been this way. We're going to play a video a little while of Benjamin Netanyahu, his statement today about this horrific killing. He chimed in on it. President Trump chimed in on it. Melania Trump tonight chimed in on it, and we'll try to get you their comments. We're going to play some video. I do want to, the comment that was made that I want to talk about was the gentleman, he was Jewish, and he said, "My heart is broken, my blood is boiling." And I think that sums up my feeling today. My heart was very saddened this morning when I first heard about this news and began to get the details of it as we were coming on our Bible study. We really didn't have a lot of details. They were emerging. It happened last night during actually our faith show, and it happened around 9:15. And I usually in the mornings before the Bible study, I don't check the news too often. I see things and get texts and emails and people say heads up about something, and this morning was one of those mornings I just glanced at a heads up, and I didn't really get the full detail of it till about lunchtime, and then we went on the radio show this afternoon at 2, and we had a lot to say about it. We're going to play some video tonight of some of the responses and some of the things the media is reporting about it. I have to tell you, it's so ironic. And by the way, before I forget it, I want to thank Carla Nicole for being with us tonight. Did she not do a great job? It was an absolute fantastic interview with my dear buddy from Culture of Life, 1972. Very good stuff. Hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't get to see it live, it's on replay. You can check it out on all the channels. And please be sure to like and subscribe and share all these videos. It helps us, folks. We need all the help we can get these days. And please just be sure to share our channel out, share these videos out, share the interviews out as you feel led to. But I related to the gentleman's feeling. I'm brokenhearted for these kids tonight. I'm brokenhearted for their families. It was reported that the young man was going to take his girlfriend, it was a girlfriend, and he was going to take her to Jerusalem next week and in Israel and propose to her to be married to him. He had already bought a ring, and that will not happen now because of a cold-blooded killer called Elias Rodriguez, who is part of a fascist communist-based group that believes that, again, Israel is the great enemy and the great Satan of the earth, and that they need to free Palestine. He was seen coming out of a hallway at the place that this shooting took place right after this, saying free Palestine. And one of the videos we're going to play tonight, there's an eyewitness to what he saw when he shot this couple in cold blood. But I'm boiling mad tonight because I believe that this shooting is a direct result of the raging anti-Semitism that is eroding this country's soul, and it's eroding the world's soul. It's not just America that's doing it. There's tremendous anti-Semitism and lies coming from the UN, coming from Europe, France. A lot of these nations are coalescing together to tell Israel that it needs to stop fighting Hamas. And it's like these nations have nothing but brain-dead memory loss of what happened on October the 7th. And nearly 1,200 Israelis were slaughtered in cold blood. And if you look at the ratio of 1,200 people in Israel, and you bring that over to our country, and you look at the ratio of their citizens that involved, that would have been probably 10 9/11s, and maybe more of that. It would have been 30 to 40, maybe 50,000 people in America that would have involved. Had that percentage of what was slaughtered, who was slaughtered in Israel compared to their population, and you take that percentage and you multiply it to us, that would have been the loss of about 30 to 50,000 citizens. And no nation, folks, including America, even under dead brain Joe Biden, and I don't mean that with any disrespect tonight, folks, this scandal with Biden is going to get bigger and bigger by the day. It's not going to go away. I hope something is done to these auto pen people. They need to be held to an account. There needs to be an accounting of what was legally done and what was constitutionally done and what was not. We cannot move forward, and I don't care what Whoopi Goldberg's out there saying tonight and all the left-wing media, and they're wanting to rub it under the rug, and their big word tonight is ambush. I'll play you a video in a minute. That's the new term of the left, that Trump ambushed the South African president yesterday, and Trump is ambushing the government, and that's their new word. They always have a word of the day in the media, and today's word was ambush. We're going to talk about the White Africa situation, the South Africa situation, because it's really tied to the Jewish situation in many ways, and it's a racism, it's anti-Semitism, it's racially charged, and let me remind you, in Matthew 24, Jesus made the statement that nation would rise up against nation, and you get down to what that word means. It means ethnic group. It means it comes from a word called ethos, and that's where we get ethnic from, ethnic groups, and what it means is that ethnic group will rise against ethnic group, and we're seeing that happen tonight, and it's a sign that his coming is very near, and I believe that it is coming, and I believe that his coming is very near, of course. But we're seeing an increase of this. I want to go to our newswire. I want to read an article tonight. It's out of Breitbart. This is Bruce Pearl. I'm a big fan of Bruce Pearl. He used to be the basketball coach at Tennessee, University of Tennessee, and of course he had some issues there, and they let him go, and I hate it because he's now went to Auburn, and he has found a home there and doing a great job of basketball coaching. Took him to the Final Four this year, and I really was pulling for him to win it all, and that takes a lot for a Georgia fan to root for Auburn. But I was really hoping that he would. Florida won the national championship. They represented themselves well today. showed President Trump great respect, and he showed them great respect, had a fun time with him. You could tell the basketball players were glad to be there. They laughed. Trump recognized their national championship. The coach, Todd Holden, was a class act, presented Trump with a jersey. And I'm just grateful to see these sports teams coming around this time and not acting like the Boston classless Red Sox did in 2018 when they won the World Series and wouldn't come to the White House when Trump was in office, and other teams have done that. And it is a disrespectful thing. Look, I know that there are some conservatives that did it while Biden was in office, and I didn't really agree with it then. Look, the president's office is the president's office. The office is bigger than the man. But we just have people, folks, that just don't respect a thing. But this is Bruce Pearl, and he's Auburn's basketball coach, and he is Jewish. And Holden, actually, it's intriguing that Todd Holden, the one that won the NCAA basketball championship with Florida, the head coach, he is Jewish. And they were the only two Jewish coaches. It was the first time in NCAA history that two Jewish-born coaches, or cultural coaches, two Jewish-born coaches, had reached the Final Four. And he chimed in on this tonight, and I'm grateful for what he had to say, and I'm just going to read it. He says that he's mourning the loss and the murders of these two Israeli embassy staffers who were killed Wednesday night. They were part of the Israeli embassy to America. He lamented the rise of anti-Semitism in the United States and the propaganda that led to the death. I'm going to put my picture over Michelle Obama's, if you don't mind. I think you'd rather see me anyway. That's sort of creepy right there. I'm just saying. It's a little creepy there, so I'm gonna, I don't know if you would rather see mine or her picture, but I'm going to put mine up. That way I can talk to you a little bit here. Well, there we go. But I want to read this article to you. This is a quote. "There's a tremendous rise in anti-Semitism. We're going to overcome it," he said to Fox News tonight. That this was just a young couple, two diplomats, just getting ready to start their life. The young man had a ring and was just getting ready to ask this beautiful girl to marry him and start a family. And that's all gone right now because of, quite frankly, just the lies. Just the lies and incredibly awful propaganda. He went on to blast the Free Palestine nonsense as just an extension of anti-Semitism and not any help for the Palestinian people, and it's not. Quote, "When they say Free Palestine, what they mean is Free Palestine of the Jews." Well said. Free Palestine of your friend Coach Bruce Pearl. That's what this is all about, he explained. If you were to sit there and call for an intifada, or if you were going to be calling for the death to the Jews, just replace the Jews with the word Christians or blacks or women or anybody. Where in the world do you get to get out of there on the street? I believe in free speech. So you know what? You get to do that here in this country. But we've got to take them seriously now. We've got to take them at their word. Just terrible to see that tragedy in D.C. last night. He said he does not think the murders will help the anti-Israel supporters. He said, quote, "I don't think that it can. I don't know that we're at a tipping point at this right now. In 3 days, it'll be over. We'll be on to whatever is next." You go to Washington, D.C., and you've got Jewish congressmen and senators that are Democrats that are going to take a certain position and a certain side of things politically. We're lining up in such opposition. We're Americans, and it's fine that we've got different ways of looking at things, but no, I don't see this thing changing very much. And that was his interview tonight, and it's very well stated there, and very, very well stated. I'm very saddened by this tonight myself, and so forth. But I want to say what he said about the propaganda, folks. I'll lay this at the foot of this movement in this country, and it's really a worldwide movement of anti-Semitism. It's a worldwide movement of Jewish hatred, and it has stirred up crazies like this Elias Rodriguez. He was 30 years old, and he was seen shouting "Free, free Palestine" moments after he gunned this couple down in cold blood. Hang on just a second. I'm getting sore. Something is, there we go. Hang on just a second. That was a Twitter account. I was wondering where that was coming from. It's my Twitter account that I downloaded some videos from. But I want you to listen to some videos tonight as we talk about this, and I'm going to take your thoughts on this killing tonight. I'm going to come over here, and the weather's gone. The weather's calmed down quite a bit. But I want to start tonight. Actually, I want to start with Bibi Netanyahu. And hang on just a second. Let me do this. And let me get our download. I thought I had it. There we go. This is Bibi Netanyahu tonight on this situation. He chimed in on it. But I want you to listen to what he has to say about the overall situation in Israel right now and the lies that are going on relating to his nation, folks. And it's well said. And the only people that are not going to like what he's got to say are these Q-nuts and these anti-Semites and people that hate Israel. By the way, while I'm at it, to Stu Peters tonight, I just pray for your soul. You know, I'm not even getting to the point I've come to expect vile things coming out of your mouth. He posted tonight the statement. He said, there are solutions and then there are final solutions. How did he put it? Solutions are good. Final solutions are great. And he posted that seconds after this shooting. And it was a direct remark as it relates to the death of 2 Jewish young people. Can't get no more lower than that. When you see the word final solution, it speaks of Hitler's attempts to put Jews in the gas chamber. Not attempts, but he did it. 6 million of them went to their death in gas chambers, and he called it the final solution. So people like Stu Peters and those that share his stuff out and those that embrace Stu Peters, I would suggest you find the master real quick. You know, I suggest you find some faith real quick. Find a place of repentance real quick. You're going to stand before the Savior of the world one day, but he's going to be your judge, and he's Jewish. Just a thought, just a sidebar on that. Here's Bibi today on all this. It's good listen. It's about 3 or 4 minutes, 5. It's worth you listening to.
Last night in Washington, something horrific happened. A brutal terrorist shot in cold blood a young, beautiful couple, Yaron Lishinsky and Sarah Milgram. Yaron had just bought an engagement ring for Sarah. He was planning to give it to her in Jerusalem next week. They were planning to start a new and happy life together. Well, that tragically did not happen. Yaron and Sarah weren't the victims of a random crime. The terrorist who cruelly gunned them down did so for one reason and one reason alone. He wanted to kill Jews. And as he was taken away, he chanted, "Free Palestine." This is exactly the same chant we heard on October 7th. On that day, thousands of terrorists stormed into Israel from Gaza. They beheaded men.
Yep.
They raped women.
Yep.
They burnt
Yep.
babies alive. They butchered 1,200 innocent people and took 251 innocent people hostage.
Let me stop it right there. Israel did not do that to the Palestinians. Israel did not behead men. Israel did not rape women. Israel did not burn babies alive. I made a few statements tonight as I close the first early bird. I'm going to say it tonight. I know it sounds a little catty, a little cutting. My blood is boiling tonight, so you'll have to pardon me just a little bit tonight to be a little catty, to be a little harsh, because my blood is boiling. My heart is broken and my blood is boiling. Let me tell you, anti-Semites, something. You sound like a bunch of stupid, wretched wretches. You just sound like a bunch of ignorant people that have got nothing but Jew hatred in your heart. You're not even smart in what you say and smart in what you believe, and you lie. You're nothing but liars. You are nothing but pathetic liars. So if you're going to be anti-Semitic, at least be truthful and tell the truth. Just tell people you hate Jews. Tell people that you hate Israel. Tell people you don't believe in the Bible. Just be honest with us. Stop being a liar at the same time. Pick a struggle. Pick a struggle between being a liar and being ignorant. Pick a struggle between being an anti-Semite and being totally an ignorant wretch. Okay? Because I would respect you more if you just told us the truth about what you really feel. But Bibi's telling you the truth here, folks. Hamas did this. Hamas did this. Israel didn't do it to the Palestinians. No. This is what happened on October the 7th. The media wants you to forget about October the 7th. There's many people in the church that's not even condemned October the 7th. They've never one time said Hamas was wrong in doing all this. So, We want to get the facts straight so as not to have to draw it in crayon for the anti-Semites among us. Roll the tape. Keep going, baby. Keep going.
To the dungeons of Gaza. A short time afterwards, Chancellor Scholz of Germany visited Israel. And after he saw the horrors, he said to me, these Hamas terrorists are exactly like the Nazis. He was right. And if they could get away with it, these Hamas terrorists would have slaughtered every last Jew on earth. For these neo-Nazis, Free Palestine is just today's version of Heil Hitler.
Yes, indeed.
They don't want a Palestinian state.
No, they don't.
They want to destroy the Jewish state.
Bingo. Exactly what Pearl said. When they're saying free Palestine, what they're saying is they want Palestine, which, by the way, is an unreal place. Palestine was the term that Romans gave that region that we know today as Israel, called it Palestinian, out of disrespect to the Jewish race back in AD 70, at a time Israel was being scattered to the four corners of the earth. But he's right and Pearl's right. That is the equivalent of saying, kill the Jews. And you hear that coming from the anti-Semites too. Kill them all. It's what Stu Peters was saying tonight. He's saying the solution of these two getting shot was a good thing, but the final solution is even better. The final solution is great. I wonder how many Christians saw that and said amen to it. You'd be shocked. You'd be shocked at how many wouldn't even have the courage to condemn it. You've got Christians out there tonight that's not even condemned the killing of these two kids. No, it's above them to do that because there's nothing but Jew hatred in their heart. Beebe's right, folks. And by the way, what Bruce Pearl said, that's what they want, folks. They want a world free of the Jews. That's what the ultimate goal is of this. Beebe's nailing it. Roll tape.
They want to annihilate the Jewish people who've been in the land of Israel for 3,500 years. I could never understand how this simple truth evades the leaders of France, Britain, Canada, and others. They're now proposing to establish a Palestinian state and reward these murderers with the ultimate prize. Well, for 18 years, we had a de facto Palestinian state. It's called Gaza. And what did we get? Peace? No. We got the most savage slaughter of Jews since the Holocaust. You won't be surprised to learn that Hamas thanked President Macron and Prime Minister Starmer and Carney for demanding that Israel end its war in Gaza immediately. Hamas was right to thank them, because by issuing their demand, replete with a threat of sanctions against Israel, not Hamas, these three leaders effectively said they want Hamas to remain in power. They want Israel to stand down and accept that Hamas's army of mass murderers will survive, rebuild, and repeat the October 7th massacre again and again and again.
And they will.
Because that's what Hamas is vowed to do.
They will do it.
I say to President Macron, Prime Minister Carney, and Prime Minister Starmer, when mass murderers, rapists, baby killers, and kidnappers thank you, you're on the wrong side of justice. You're on the wrong side of humanity. And you're on the wrong side of history. Now, these leaders may think that they're advancing peace. They're not. They're emboldening Hamas to continue fighting forever. And they give them hope to establish a second Palestinian state, from which Hamas will again seek to destroy the Jewish state. And mind you, it's not going to be a state free of Hamas. When you establish a Palestinian state, we've seen it. The radicals take over. Iran sends them in, and they take over. So don't give us this talk. It'll be a peaceful Palestinian state. It won't be. But the hypocrisy doesn't stop there. These and other leaders have bought into Hamas's propaganda that says Israel is starving Palestinian children.
It's not just the leaders of Europe that's buying into that propaganda, folks. It is Christian voices, so-called. It is Americans. It is so-called spiritual voices and churches and interdenominations, prophetic movements, prophetic voices, networks that are buying into the Hamas propaganda as well. That Israel is starving Palestinian children. Roll the tape.
And not only is Hamas putting out this lie, a few days ago, a top UN official said that 14,000 Palestinian babies would die in 48 hours. You see, many international institutions are complicit in spreading this lie.
It goes back to the protocols of the Elders of Zion. Here is something that's tied into this shooting last night. I want you to look at this. This was the last thing that Yaron Lachinsky posted. Yaron's the young man that got killed last night. He posted this very thing, reposted the response of Ambassador Amir Westbroad's response to the UN's lie. And he warned that the 14,000 children hoax is blood libel that will get innocent people killed. It's almost prophetic. He proclaimed on his X account that this kind of talk is going to get people killed. And he basically retweeted what Ambassador Amir Westbroad said. He says, at the UN Relief Chief, your declaration that 14,000 babies are at risk of dying in Gaza in the next 2 days is a blood libel. And he post at the UN and all the UN organizations, they have obligations to be neutral and impartial. You are breaching constantly these obligations. Your reports are founded on lies and on Hamas numbers. And of course, you never talk about Hamas or other terrorists and how they use hospitals and schools and shelters in Gaza as human shields. You never talk about that. Christians don't talk about that. Churches don't talk about that. Enough is enough. You should be accountable for the disinformation you and the UN spread. And this is what's so weird about this. This was the thing that Yaron posted hours before his death. This was the last tweet that young man sent out before he went down to the death last night with his girlfriend. By the way, they were Christians. They were Messianic Jews. They just wasn't Jews. They were Messianic Jews, meaning they believed in Jesus. And they were very strong in their faith in what I'm reading. And Bibi is, folks, telling the truth. I know this man is despised by many in the West. He's despised by many a Christian. He's called the Antichrist, about like Trump. Him and Trump, between Bibi Netanyahu and Trump, I don't think anybody that thinks that there is an Antichrist coming, because they've already anointed Bibi Netanyahu and Trump as the Antichrist and the false prophet pretty much. And Bibi, by the Q folks, you know, Bibi's the spawn of Satan. And this is the only man that has to defend his country from attacks every single day. Not just every week, every month. He wakes up every morning with probably a threat level that at any moment bombs could go off in his nation because of the hatred around the world of this tiny nation of Israel. He's speaking truth if you listen to it. You better listen to what he's saying, folks. He's right. He's right. Roll the tape.
The press repeats it.
Yes.
The mob believes
it.
And a young couple
is
then brutally gunned down.
Brutally gunned down in Washington because of it. Because of it. Here's the facts.
So here are the facts. Since October 7th, Israel has sent 92,000 aid trucks into Gaza. That's right. 92,000 aid trucks. That includes 1.8 million tons of aid. 1.8 million tons of aid. More than enough food to feed everyone in Gaza. Yet as we had let the aid come in, Hamas stole it. They took a huge chunk for themselves. The rest they sold at exorbitant prices to the Palestinian population. And then they used the money they stole to recruit new terrorists to continue their war against Israel. Our goal from the start was to get food to Palestinian civilians, not to Palestinian terrorists.
Amen.
So we consulted with our American allies. What do we do to prevent Hamas from looting the aid? Well, together we devised a mechanism to achieve this goal. American companies will distribute the food directly to Palestinian families. They'll do so in safe zones secured by our military. And this will allow us to complete our goal of destroying Hamas while enabling aid to reach the civilian population.
That is nothing. You do not ever hear of that in the media, in church circles, behind pulpits, in telegram rooms, in anti-Semitic networks. You don't hear a word about that. None whatsoever. He's telling you the truth, folks. Now you can suck up the lies and believe the lies of the left. Bibi Netanyahu's telling you the truth about what Israel's rolling in. They have given food to the Palestinian civilians. They're not genociding the civilians down there. But you couldn't believe that listening to much of the prophets out there and these so-called American prophets that think they know everything and they got a Q figure as their symbol. The Q is their gospel, not the Bible. These networks that are doing this are pathetic. These people, I tell you, they are vile people. My blood boils when I hear it. My blood boils, folks. And we're not trying to defend a political state. I know this man here is not perfect. I know his nation is not perfect, but neither is ours. Neither is our nation. Neither is any nation on this earth. And we've all got problems. Australia's got problems. America's got problems. Japan's got problems. South Korea's got problems. Europe's got problems. The Cubans got problems. Canada's got problems. Mexico's got problems. You can name the list, and the list can be a mile long. There's corruption in every government in this world. But it's only Israel that always gets called out for that. It's only Israel that gets accused of killing innocent Palestinian civilians. By the way, folks, those innocent Gazans assisted Hamas on October the 7th. You'd be shocked at the number of facts that the UN has hid from the fact that it was the civilian population in Gaza that helped Hamas do these atrocities that and then Israel turns around and to their enemies, they feed him. They feed him with 92,000 trucks since October the 7th. It's amazing how you never hear about that. It's amazing to me how you never see that tweeted out by anybody. Roll the tape.
We'll complete the construction of the first distribution zones in the coming days. Ultimately, we intend to have large safe zones in the south of Gaza. The Palestinian population will move there for their own safety while we conduct combat in other zones and receive humanitarian aid there without Hamas interference. In the meantime, we authorize letting trucks enter Gaza to provide for immediate needs. Yesterday, I think more than 100 trucks went in. More will come in today. I tell you this, no army in the world has ever gone to such lengths to provide aid to the civilian population in the midst of intense combat. And Hamas, of course, opposes this. It shoots Palestinian civilians who want to leave for safe zones, and it shoots Palestinian civilians who want to prevent Hamas terrorists from looting the aid trucks intended for them. As for the hostages, we'll do every effort to secure them. I'm ready for a temporary ceasefire to get more out. But we demand, and you should demand, that all of our hostages be released. That is a reasonable
demand. That is a reasonable expectation. Folks, we've got all our hostages, the ones that are at least still alive. I dare say that what Bibi's asking for there will ever be realized. There is probably, I wouldn't say there was probably 10% of those hostages that are left that are even living. And folks, this atrocity should not go unpunished. Hamas needs to be eliminated from this earth. They need to be eliminated and destroyed at all costs. If they're not, this will be done again. And again. And again. No other nation has put up with such as Israel has about this and done as much restraint. I hear this all the time from the left and the politicians and these catty, brainless Democrats and these brainless, catty liberals. Well, Israel don't show restraint, and Israel is an aggressor, and Israel is overstepping their hand. How do you overstep your hand when somebody kills 1,200 of your citizens? I wonder what they would say about America if 50,000 of our citizens were destroyed in something like this. Do you think we would be staying our hand to bomb the living hell out of somebody till there ain't nothing left but a hole the size of Texas in their capital? It's amazing. Just amazing. And I'm going to play to make another minute of this. I'll let you finish this up.
We're in an intense seven-front war that was launched against us by Iran.
Let me back that up just a minute, because he says right here, they have, go ahead. Go ahead.
The Palestinian population will move there for their own safety while we conduct combat in other zones and receive humanitarian aid there without Hamas interference. In the meantime, we authorize letting trucks enter Gaza to provide for immediate needs. Yesterday, I think more than 100 trucks went in. More will come in today. I tell you this, no army in the world has ever gone to such lengths to provide aid to the civilian population. Amen. In the midst of intense combat. And Hamas, of course, opposes this.
And liberals oppose it.
Who want to leave for safe zones, and it shoots Palestinian civilians who want to prevent Hamas terrorists from looting the aid trucks intended for them. As for the hostages, we'll do every effort to secure them. I'm ready for a temporary ceasefire to get more out, but we demand, and you should demand, that all of our hostages be released, and released immediately. And so should every civilized country demand this.
So should every civilized country demand it, folks. Civilized nations don't go around allowing people to shoot people because they're Jews. Civilized nations don't applaud the killing of Jews. Civilized nations condemn the violence of October the 7th. Civilized individuals condemn violence of October the 7th. And people with moral clarity, and not some spiritual meth-induced fog on their head, condemn it and see what's what and what's true and what's not true. But because we're living in a world that is spiritually meth-induced, and a church that has left God, and a church that believes these lies like it's cotton candy and pushes these same lies as the world does, that's why the world feels the way they do and believes the lies about Israel. About a minute left. Roll tape.
Front war that was launched against us by Iran and its proxies. Sometimes in war, accidents happen. One such incident happened the other day in Jeemes, and thankfully no one was hurt. Our military has expressed its regret over the event because we don't target civilians or diplomats. We target terrorists. Exactly the opposite of Hamas. They target civilians, ours, and they hide behind civilians, theirs. They use them as human shields. That's a double war crime. But I don't hear that coming from anyone.
Nope. I don't either.
That criticize Israel. For those who say that Israel stands alone, I say we're not alone. Justice stands with us. The truth stands with us. History stands with us. And so do countless people around the world who can tell the difference between right and wrong, between good and evil. I want to thank all of them. And I especially want to thank President Trump and the American people for their forthright stand with Israel and with the Jewish people. Together we stand, together we'll triumph, and we'll see the victory of civilization over barbarism.
Let's hope, baby. Let's hope, baby. Let me come back over here and say something about what he just said there, folks. He left one thing out in that last statement, in that last sentence. History does stand with them, and justice does stand with them. A good many American people with a brain stand with Israel over this. God also stands with Israel. Israel may be away from God. Israel may not stand with God right now because they've rejected His Son, Jesus Christ. But don't you ever make the mistake of believing that God has cast aside His people to where He is not watching them at all times. They've been called the apple of His eye often in Scripture. They're His beloved, they're His people, they're His heritage, they're His chosen. Now, whether we want to accept that or not, that's up to us. We don't have to believe that. If we want to reject that, that's fine. I know that the Jewish people are blinded when it comes to Christ. And that's where my heart breaks tonight, because I know what is coming to them is going to be a horrible time of history. Their worst days are hit. What's happening right now to them is mild in comparison to what's coming. And I know it, because the Bible says it's true. But don't ever forget that God, even in the midst of mercy, in the midst of tribulation, in the midst of this onslaught of judgment that is coming, to bring her back to Himself, He's never going to not have mercy on His people. And Jesus made the statement, He said, if it was not for the elect, no flesh should survive the great tribulation period. You know who the elect is in that statement? Speaks of Israel. Even in the midst of the gloves being taken off by the God of heaven and unprecedented death and destruction that's going to hit this earth and all nations of the earth, 2/3 of the Jewish race are going to perish during that tribulation period. But I will tell you this, God's mercy has never left that nation, even though she has left Him. God's compassion for that nation has never stopped. God's yearning for Israel to come back to Him has never stopped. He chose that nation sovereignly. Nearly 4,000 years ago when he changed Jacob's name to Israel, and he brought her into Egypt as a people, took her out as a nation, and she really became a full-fledged nation politically under David and Solomon. And God used men and prophets to warn her over and over about her coming bondage of the Babylonians. And then when they didn't listen to the prophets, he sent his only son, Jesus Christ, to speak to her, and they rejected him. And they've paid a horrible price for 2,000 years because of it. A horrible price. And they're going to pay an even greater price later. But I will tell you this, they will be restored at the end of the Great Tribulation period. However long that period will be, they will be restored as a nation. It will not look like it to the natural eye. They will literally come close to total extinction. And the world of that day, whenever that day is, I'm sure will rejoice and think this is it. We finally got rid of the Jewish problem. We've finally got rid of all these Jews, and the world's going to be just right. But they're going to be sadly mistaken, because it's going to be just the opposite. Judgment is going to fall on these nations, neighbor. And Jesus Christ is going to come back and save Israel from the throes of the Antichrist, and there will be blood up to the horse's bridle in the valley of Megiddo. It will take them 7 months to burn the weapons. It will take them, or 7 years to literally burn the weapons of Armageddon. It will take them 7 months to bury the dead. Jesus is not coming back to Washington, D.C. He's coming back to Jerusalem, Israel, to set his kingdom up over his people. And they're going to rule with him again. They're going to reign with him again. And we believers are going to rule and reign with him as well. So my suggestion to you tonight, and I'm saving some of these videos I've got tonight for tomorrow, because I'm going to let you go here. It's getting late. My advice to you tonight on this late night news wrap, you can get on the right side of prophetic history of this. You can get on God's side, or you can keep staying on the devil's side. It's up to you. Pretty simple and clear to me. I know what side I'm on. And I know that I'm going to be proven right in eternity, folks. And I know what I'm believing is right tonight. And we have taken a hit on this network for doing this. People mock us. They laugh at us. They've said all sorts of things, and let them say it. We're not changing. And we're going to stay on the right side of this, no matter what the other voices of the world say. I listened to that video, and I said, he sums it up as beautifully as anybody could say it. And again, he's made out to be the devil by the right and the left. He's made out to be the devil by Christians. Nobody would want his job right now. And while he may not know Christ personally, I've had dreams about Bibi over the last few years. I've dreamed some things, and I don't want to get into them because they were precious, personal things that the Lord showed me. And I'm not even going to go there. I don't get out there and tell everything that the Lord shows me and says to me. Those things I ponder in my heart. But I'm praying for the man. I'm praying for Israel tonight. I'm praying for their safety. My heart breaks for these kids. My heart just breaks. And my blood is boiling. Because the rhetoric and the propaganda that caused this has not stopped, and it won't stop, and so forth. All right, let me play a few videos for you. This is a couple of things that went on today. I think we've got the video. Here he is right here. This is the monster that did all this. This is Elias Rodriguez. You can listen to him scream, "Free, free Palestine."
Prior to the shooting, the suspect was observed pacing back and forth outside of the museum. He approached a group of 4 people, produced a handgun, and opened fire.
I was walking by, and a guy came up and looked like a gun. I couldn't tell what it was, but I heard it afterwards, the shots, and he shot this young couple.
The young man purchased a ring this week with the intention of proposing to his girlfriend next week in Jerusalem. They were a beautiful couple who came to enjoy an evening in Washington's Cultural Center.
And they're dead. And they are now dead, thanks to that madman right there. But again, folks, it is not just him. It is the rhetoric and the propaganda of many tonight. They're believing it. And it's a tragic situation. It's more tragic to me that Christians are spreading this, even more so than the media. That's the worst part of this. A couple of quick things tonight. This is... what do I want to play? There's this thing in South Africa is getting absolutely insane, and I want you to play this video. We're going to talk about South Africa. The South Africa thing and the Israeli thing are tied together. We're going to try to get into the connections of it over the next few weeks. But this was a reporter today that was not happy with President Trump basically putting it in the face of the South African president that was up here trying to convince us there's not a genocide going on. Well, she tested the wrong amigo today in the White House. Carolyn Leavitt is the best White House press secretary we've ever had. Ever. And I like Dana Perino, but I would put Caroline Leavitt as the best press secretary in my lifetime. And I just love the way she don't take the media's guff and gives it right back. Roll the tape. This is a reporter insinuating that President Trump shared out a fake, bogus video yesterday in the White House. Roll the tape.
Crosses are representing their lives. Those crosses are representing their lives in the fact that they are now dead, and their government did nothing about it. Are you disputing that there's no...
The fact that the video showed what the president claimed it showed, because it did not show that. But even more, what I'm asking you is who at the White House...
It did show that. It showed white crosses representing people who have perished because of racial persecution.
Verifies the videos that the president shows, and what protocols are in place when there's unsubstantiated information being put out for the world and world leaders to show?
What's unsubstantiated about the video? The video shows crosses that represent the dead bodies of people who were racially persecuted by their government. In fact, the Associated Press, of all places, has a picture of that very monument, and the caption from the Associated Press is, "Each cross marks a white farmer who has been killed in a farm murder." So it is substantiated, not just by that video and the physical evidence that everybody saw on display in the Oval Office, but also by another outlet in this room, the Associated Press. So you should take it up with them if you believe the claim is unsubstantiated. And that's a ridiculous line of questioning.
It is a ridiculous line of questioning. It sure is. And that reporter, you know, folks, I don't know how much more dumb. By the way, good to see Teresa Cerna come into the house tonight. Teresa, good to see you, friend. Really is. Always a pleasure. Good to see Jason Miller in the house tonight and others of you. But that reporter asking that question, that was an insulting question. That was an insulting question. And again, folks, if I might as well go ahead and just draw a line in the sand tonight. I just wonder if the South African government was slaughtering Hispanics and illegal aliens and Dearga gang members and slaying and murdering maybe Antifa members and MS-13 gang members. I wonder if that reporter would have said President Trump was lying about that. No, because they're slaughtering white farmers. Just a thought. Just a thought. This is a film that's coming out. I want you to listen to this lady. This is Linda Hopkins, I believe, and she is putting together a film, and I can't wait to see it. I'm not sure when it's going to come out, but she's talking about the truth about South Africa, and maybe this reporter needs to talk to her about whether those crosses are real or not. Roll the tape.
White South African farmers are being hunted from their land by black gangs. And I had a young son at the time, and he would sometimes have nightmares about when the monsters would come, you know, at night time. But in South Africa, that is when the gangs come, and they work together and they attack white farmers. And some of the things that happen to white farmers, we don't need to talk about here, but the barbarity, it isn't just about burglary, which gets filed away as. This is torture. And the numbers of white farmers being killed is incredible. And because South Africans have expropriation without compensation, which basically means we're taking your land. So I went and slept on the farms to feel the fear white people are denied treatment in hospitals in South Africa. It's an extreme situation that no one will talk about.
No, nobody's going to talk about it. That sounds like racism to me. Why isn't the media decrying racism against whites? I'm going to go there, folks. Look, you want to talk about, all these people out there on the view, the left, and we need to have a conversation about racism in this country. Yeah, we do need to have a conversation. But we're not going to have a one-sided conversation, and you sit there and tell me that the only people that are racist in this country are white folks against blacks. No, we're gonna have a true conversation, because racism in the world exists in the hearts of both blacks and whites. Because there's just many black folks that despise us white folks, and I'm not naive enough to believe that there ain't racism in the white community, folks. There's always been racism. I've got a very unique audience in this chat. I've got a unique audience on the McFiles. I've never in 8 years, I don't think I've ever had anybody come into this chat room and make a racist comment about anybody. And especially on our face shows on Sunday morning, I'll just use that as an example. I don't think I've ever had to deal with racism on this network. You know why? Because, see, people have got this man in their heart. Most people that come listen to our show are faith people. You know what the answer to racism is? You know what the answer to this situation in South Africa is? It's not politics. It's not reparations, as Ariana Presley is claiming that we need to do, is pay blacks back for slavery, and these other brainless individuals that claim that that's the path to solving all of this, that if we just pay the blacks money and give them reparations for our role in slavery. By the way, the whites didn't call slavery. And if you want to do a history lesson with me, it was the black trading companies of West Africa that sent black slaves over to America. It was a white man, a Republican president, Abraham Lincoln, that freed the slaves. That's why we fought a civil war. And for you modern historians, it was not the Republican Party nor the whites that started the KKK. Guess what? It was the liberal Democrats. It was the liberal Democrats that started the KKK because they didn't want blacks voting. They didn't want blacks leaving the plantation, so to speak. Now, you don't, again, have to like that. These opinions are mine. But I will tell you the source, folks, of this racism is demonic. It's demons. It's devil. It's the devil. And the only way that you're going to have peace between the races is this man right here. Because I can tell you that people that have Jesus truly in their heart, they're not racist about anybody. And I've got as many black friends as I do white folks, and I don't have any inkling of racism against them. I know some great black people, and I know some wonderful white people. I know some people in the black community that have sold their race down the toilet, this leadership, these black pastors that are voting for liberal causes. And folks, when you got big name pastors like in Dallas, Texas, I don't want to name the guy, but he's got one of the biggest networks holding arm in arm with Beto O'Rourke and being seen with Kamala Harris and having Oprah on his front row and Tyler Perry on his front row and his daughter is as backslidden as he is and preaching this false variant gospel. I don't care what color skin the man's got. But he affects millions and millions of people in the black community and leading them away from Christ. And I don't know what is going on in the black community tonight, but I will tell you this, there's just as many problems in the white community. But we're equally, folks, in need of this man right here. I want to say it loudly and clearly. You want to fix racism in this country? Get Jesus in the hearts of people. That's what's going to stop this. She's confirming that the videos that Trump was showing yesterday were truth. They were truth. By the way, just in case you missed it, this is the leader of the black South African militia group that's basically saying, go kill the whites.
The farmer! Kill the poor!
The poor is white farmers. And let's see what else we got here. This is a couple more things, and we're going to let you talk tonight. I do want to play. This is the group that this monster that killed the Jewish people were a part of. This is their ideology.
there was some sort of rave or desert party where they were having a great time until the resistance came in electrified hang gliders and took at least several dozen hipsters.
The anti-Israel extremists who murdered Sarah Milgram and Yaron Leszczynski had been part of the Party for Socialism and Liberalism. Go figure. And this is their public service announcement so that you can stand with them against Israel. And you just got to love these Marxists. Speaking of Marxists, here's some more of that group.
Who is the terrorist? The United States of America. We feel the Palestinian blood. We feel the Palestinian blood. And we stand in solidarity with Palestine. We have the historic responsibility. We have the historic responsibility of defeating Israel colonialism. Israel colonialism. And U.S. imperialism. And U.S.
I went to Wikipedia this morning to look at the map of where the resistance is, and as of at least this morning, they've liberated an area that's actually larger than the Gaza Strip. And as you might have seen, there was some sort of rave or desert party where they were having a great time until the resistance came in electrified hang gliders and took at least several dozen hipsters. But just less than 24 hours ago on the land, from the sea, and from the air, the people of the Gaza Strip.
This video was done October the 8th of 2023. One day after the terrorist attack on Israel. All right. It's 11:30 in the East, 10:30 in the Central Time Zone. I'm going to have to call it quits. I got a lot more video to show, but not tonight. We'll be back here tomorrow night. We'll be back on our radio show tomorrow. We got several things to talk about on the K-Star Talk Radio Network. You got 10 minutes. You got 10 minutes. If you got anything to say, say it. Got any questions, say it. You got it. The floor. And so far, we've had, looks like 51 votes. 98% says no to a Palestinian state. 2% says yes to a Palestinian state. I'd love to get the reasoning behind those that want a Palestinian state. By the way, folks, you heard BB, they got a Palestinian state. They already got one. It's called the Gaza Strip. If you don't believe that the Palestinians, you want to see what would a Palestinian state would look like, look at the Gaza Strip. You want to see what would happen if the West Bank was given an official statehood status? Israel would not even survive that, folks, a week. So, all you folks that want a Palestinian state, well, you got one. You really had one when Jordan had the Palestinians and they fomented insurrection and fomented rebellion and they got their carcasses kicked out, and nobody would take the Palestinians because they didn't want terrorists, thugs, murderers, rapists, and everything else in their midst, so they sent them to Israel. They sent them to Israel to take care of. And that is facts. Let's see here what we got. Zella says, is Marxism fact? Using race as an excuse, Islamic or communists also, and use religion as an excuse. Yep, that is true. That is true. Teresa, thank you. It's good to see you tonight. And we're grateful that you're with us tonight. And God bless you, friend. Let's see what our Facebook folks have to say. Dennis Floyd, does the White House have to let these reporters into question, especially those stupid ones, or how can they bar? Well, Dennis, yeah, I mean, the White House controls the press room. There's nothing even in the Constitution, Dennis, that says we have to have a press conference. They're doing it out of the goodness of their heart. Trump is as transparent. He lets these reporters into these meetings. He let the reporters in yesterday to their meeting in South Africa. I got to play you one video before we go home tonight. Folks, I'm telling you, this is the media. This was their code word yesterday. I want you to look at this. 12 different reporters. I want you to watch this now. This is how the media works. Dennis, I don't know if I'd call them stupid, but they're very disrespectful. Some of them do ask stupid questions. I'm not going to disagree with that. That's what bothers me, Dennis. They're not stupid people. These people are supposed to be educated, supposedly. I understand your question. Can the White House stop it? Yeah, they can stop it. But, they're trying to be fair. But I want you to watch this. This is the media. This is today.
To the dramatic scene in the Oval Office today, the tense confrontation, President Trump ambushing the president of South Africa.
Next, another Oval Office meltdown, President Trump ambushing the president of South Africa.
President Trump is being accused of conducting something of a diplomatic ambush of South Africa's president in the Oval Office.
To be with you, I'm Katie Tur. President Trump orchestrated another Oval Office ambush today.
Today, Donald Trump meeting with the president of South Africa and attempting to ambush and humiliate that leader.
Zelensky territory, where essentially he was a bit ambushed inside the Oval Office.
Felt like an ambush in there, kind of like the President Zelensky meeting in the Oval Office.
This was an ambush. It was orchestrated.
Cyril Ramaphosa brought his best diplomatic self to this meeting, but nothing could have prepared him for this multimedia ambush.
What started as, to some degree, an ambush.
Well, Katie, I mean, it wasn't ambush.
Ambush.
Ambush. Ambush.
An ambush.
Ambushing.
Ambushed inside the Oval Office.
It's amazing. It is amazing. I think they literally get on the phone and pass out these talking points to each other every night. Every single night. 12 of them. I'm surprised at Major Garrett. The only one that I'm shocked at is him at the top right there. He used to be with Fox. He was a pretty good reporter. Now he's at the crap Constant Bull Blank Network, CBS. I was a little shocked that he would say something like that, but he did. That's the media. That's the media. That's the media. That's the media. Michelle, it hurts my heart as well. 96% say no to a Palestinian state. 4% say no. I'm going to ask you that are brave enough, if you want to vote for a Palestinian state, email me at McFiles Forum and please tell me why. Tell me why you think the Palestinians deserve a state. And before you do, put in your email why you think the Jordanians shouldn't take these Palestinians back, because that was their original state. Tell me where you think that state should be. Because I want to hear this. I do. I really do. I do. I want to hear this. And so forth. Teresa Serna, as much as I don't like those reporters, it sure has let us know who our enemies are. That's bingo. That is bingo. Teresa, excellent. Well said. It lets us know who our enemies are, and they are enemies of this country. They are enemies of this nation. And, it's just like the reporter, the lady trying to claim that the video that Trump showed with the crosses on the side of the road wasn't real. I mean, for goodness sake. Even the AP said those crosses were for people that had been killed by the South African government. And there is I got to show you this. Speaking of the South African government, the president today, just today, signed a law, and I had it. Hang on. I've got to get my glasses out here. I thought I downloaded it. I guess I didn't. But, here it is. No, this is right here. This is him signing a law today, just today. They can seize land. The South African government can now seize whatever land it deems its property, but it's targeted to the very same people that are fleeing their country. But all of a sudden, the left is turned against immigration. No, we can't have immigration for white folks running from a black government. They are the enemy of America. They are the enemy of America. All right, let's see what we got here tonight. And folks, keep your comments to me. Keep your comments to me. If you got a question, please put it in the chat room. We'll take your question and your comments. Let's see here. Anything else? I think we've got pretty much everybody covered tonight. Thank you all for being with us on this late night wrap up on this Thursday night. We'll be back tomorrow. We've got so much to share. It ain't funny. We really do. Seems that we had a Marxist running our government for 4 years. We're going to talk about the auto pen more tomorrow night. It's getting out of hand. And the Supreme Court tonight ruled 6-3. Trump can fire who he wants to in the federal government because he is over the federal government. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow night. And some other stuff. Marco Rubio continues to beat down Congress, and he beat down Jay Paul today. We're going to talk about that. One final clip. Ilhan Omar, they asked her today about the 2 kids getting killed last night. I'll let the video speak for itself. Roll tape.
Congresswoman Omar,
can I get your reaction to the shooting that happened in D.C. last night?
I'm going to go for now. I'm going to go for now, Mark. Couldn't even say condolences for the family.
Yeah, no condolences for the family. I'm going to go now. I'm going to go now. That's Ilhan Omar. That's a lot of people out there. They can't even condemn this violence. It's a sick country we're living in right now, folks. This anti-Semitism, it better stop or it's going to destroy us all. Listen, God bless you, God bless your families, and God bless this great nation of America. McDonald out on a Thursday night. We hope you enjoyed the show. I will see you back here tomorrow morning on the face side, back here tomorrow night on the news side. See you at 2 o'clock on the radio, K-Star Talk Radio Network. Join us. Have a good night, everybody. Be blessed. Thank you all for being with us, and may the Lord bless you all. And please be safe out there. I really mean that, folks. We're in a dangerous country, dangerous times right now. Be blessed. Good night.